Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone, to the 2023 Mexican Grand Prix pre-race Chinwag. I've got my new laptop. It's all good. It's all good. It was a bit drama last time out, wasn't it? But we move. We move. We're going through it, and it's quite chilly. Somewhere in a hoodie. I'm full Carhartt today. It is a bit chilly in here. This room gets so much colder than any other room in this house. But you know what? Layer up, crack on, and the radiator doesn't really work very well in this room either. But there you go. Welcome, Moon One, David, Maxi, Ola, William, Eggy, Mahad, Charmander, Luca, Joseph, Aditya, David, Martin, Ola, Christopher, Liam, William, Maxi, Bismarck, Poppy, Matsunochi, Seal, Leah, Eggy, Dimmy, Evan, Arav, Adam, Hole, Ricardo. Another one. Another race. Again, 2 or 3 in a triple header. Not many more races this year. We go to Mexico. The circuit Hermanos Rodriguez, so it's called. I can't actually remember the name of the circuit. Mexican Grand Prix track. What do we think, first of all? What do we think of the... What was the name of the track? What is it called? Hermanos Rodriguez, that's it. Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. Beautiful. A track that I think is a little bit divisive, you know. What do we think of the Mexican Grand Prix track, people? Is it a banger? Is it all right? Is it? We'll put decent. Is it decent? Is it mid or is it trash? Is it hot trash? Talk to me, chat. Talk to me. What do we think of this circuit? What are we expecting from this circuit in terms of, just in terms of the circuit in isolation? Kota, goes down pretty well across the boards. Mexico's a tricky one. I would honestly, and I mean 41% of you have put it in mid, 36% of you decent. No one's really at the extremities. But it's not the best. The last sector is a bit clumsy. It's cool that it goes through a stadium. I quite like that. It's unique. It's different. It's something interesting. But yeah, the flow, I agree, is a bit of a shame. You know what? I quite like the fact that it is at altitude. It's a differentiating factor. It can potentially mix things up a little bit. Although over recent years, have we seen much of mixing up? Not really. Not enough, as far as I'm concerned, anyway. But yeah, we'll see. We will see what it's like. 9% of you think it's a banger, 37% decent, 42 mid, 12 trash. For me, it's mid. For me, it's a pretty mid track. But hopefully, we won't get a mid race. That's the plan anyway, people. Before we get into it, don't forget to hang on, I've messed up this a little bit. Here we go. Check out this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. After the fact, when I'm finished live, I will upload it to the ears. All right, check out the ears. What is the altitude similar? You know what? I don't actually know the altitude off the top of my head, but I know it's significantly higher than any other track. Because I know Interlagos has got a bit of altitude, right? I think. But yeah, it makes a big difference to the engines. I know Ferrari are a bit worried about their engines, how they're going to do. Obviously, the effect of DRS, the effect of slipstream is less because the air is thinner. So it messes with things a lot. But again, it's something you need to be prepared for. And it's one track of many. Yes, you need to be prepared, but also some teams will just have to take the L this weekend. So we will see. We will see. Altitude, not attitude. Exactly, Rory. Exactly. But yeah, round 20. Not that, again, we didn't have Imola, but this is technically round 20 of... this is race 19. Okay, this is race 19 of 23. Okay, because after this we've got Brazil, we've got Vegas, we've got Abu Dhabi. 22. Either way, there's not much to get gassed about. And you know what? Last time round, Max won ahead of Lewis, ahead of Checo, and I like to try and watch the highlights before I do these streams, right? Just I want to refresh my memory as to what happened last year. And if I get screen share up, these on the Sky Sports highlights are the top 3 comments. They somehow made 40 minutes highlights out of this impressive. Only God knows how Sky got 40 minutes from this race, and how on earth did Sky get 14 minutes out of one of the worst races in modern history? Barely nothing happened. About 10 overtakes during the whole race, and one of them took out another driver. Yeah, so based off of this, my expectations are somewhat tempered. Okay, did not deliver last year. It was a very dull race. We had a little bit of Hamilton, Russell scrapping at the start, and Hamilton got through. Ricciardo had contact with Tsunoda. That's about it. And thank you, Nor, for the $2.99 Aussie love from Oz. Your voice sounds nice in the ears. Excellent. Right in the lugs. Yeah, so it's has it ever delivered? It's not a bad question, Kenji, to be honest, but we've always got to carry some hope, people. We've always got to carry some hope. Rick was flying on those softs, he was, to be fair. Daniel was going like the clappers on those soft tyres, to be fair to him. Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, this weekend will be against the convention, all right, that we have at Mexico. Doesn't help that there's so many laps. Yeah, it does, suppose. Yeah, it's not the longest track, is it? So we'll see. Bottas was Bottas and Ocon had a little scrap as well, didn't they? They had a little fun little scrap, but not much to get excited about. Anyway, driver standings after 18 of 22 race weekends. Max Verstappen again 226 points clear. Would have been less than that if it wasn't for the Hamilton disqualification, which obviously got Checo a few more points. Yeah, story-wise, in terms of the Drivers' Championship, Norris catching Sainz could happen. I mean, Sainz, we don't know with Ferrari, it's tricky. I mean, it's not out of the question for Norris to catch Alonso. I'm not going to lie. Actually, you know what? Let's drop another poll. Looking at what we can see on screen, so Norris on 159, Sainz on 171, Alonso on 183. Where will Lando finish in the championship? Will he finish plus 2 positions from where he is, plus 1 position, stay the same, or minus 1 or more? What we thinking? Because we've got, obviously Mexico is a difficult one to predict because, again, the engines are quite sensitive around here. I mean, everyone bolts on the biggest wings they can because you just need to harvest as much aero as possible from a track like this, conditions like this, given the thin air. I don't know. I think Lando's the chance of catching almost like, I think Sainz could probably end up catching Alonso. You know what I mean? So I don't know. What are we saying, poll? 45% of you think he will gain 2 positions and therefore finish 4th in the championship. 43% of you think he'll gain 1 position, possibly over Alonso, and Alonso goes behind Sainz and down into 6th. 9% of you think stay the same, or 4% if you think he will lose at least 1 position, maybe more. What the hell is a Chinwag? Well, look, what's this doing? As I talk, what is it doing? It's wagging. That's what it's doing. Honestly, not too much of interest to talk about in the driver standings, really. Again, those points lost from Hamilton, it's 39 between him and Checo now. So I think that's Checo safe in P2. Yeah, he got, it would have been 19 points. Would it have been 19 points? Yeah, it would have been 19 points because Hamilton lost out on his 18 and Checo also gained from 2 from, yeah, lucky boy. Lucky boy Checo, with Lewis getting his disqualification. But again, I suppose we'll never know. Mercedes did run their car too low. Ferrari also ran their car too low. It will be impossible to say how much performance they gained from running it that little bit too low. We don't know. Thank you, Seth, for the $5, by the way. Lando has a better chance of beating Lewis by the end of the year for P3 than he does losing one or more positions. Oh, I don't think he'll beat Lewis. I mean, that's what Lewis to Lando is 32 points, 42 points, whatever it is. And it's like Lewis's pace has been good. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, that Mercedes has got a new 42 points, yeah. Step forward in it. Step forward from Mercedes last weekend with a flaw anyway. Obviously, again, how much pace was Max losing with his brake issues? Hard to say. But there's always going to be that kind of nuance whenever there's a weekend. You know, rarely does every single car work faultlessly every weekend. There's always, it's very difficult to say, but Lewis is definitely cooking right now. Lewis is definitely cooking right now. And, you know, any Mercedes fans out there, it's positive. There is a degree of positivity to take, regardless of the result being taken away. Ultimately, whether Lewis finishes P2 or not is not going to make, is not going to make a big difference to Mercedes. What is going to make a big difference throughout the field, and the battles you should be looking at, is the constructors' standings. 22 points between Mercedes and Ferrari right now. It's very closable. I think, look, if you haven't seen my video I put out yesterday, talking about the battle for P7 and the importance of the battle for P7 in terms of prize money, that prize money has exponentially more value to a team like Williams or Alfa or Haas or AlphaTauri than it does to Mercedes and Ferrari and Red Bull. I think it kind of, the ATR is a bigger issue at the front than it is at the back. The money does more, overall to a team. Everyone's at the budget cap, but a lot of these teams, according to Val's, half the grid is still losing money. So yeah, this is the battle to keep an eye on. And yes, Williams have a 10-point buffer to Alfa Romeo, but again, it takes one mad race, and it all flips. I mean, look, Alfa Romeo getting a 7th and 8th, right? If they turn up one weekend, I reckon probably Interlagos is their best bet, looking at Hungary and Qatar where they did well. If they turn up and get 7 and 8 with a bunch of cars at the front retiring, that's 10 points. Do a poll for who will finish P8 in the constructors. Okay, let's do it. Right. Who, because, Williams seem the safest, but because I feel very confident about my pick for P8, but I'm going to give you all the options. Williams, Alpha, Haas, or Alpha with a PH. Still haven't heard whether Alfa Romeo are moving over to Haas next season, have we? In terms of like a title sponsorship, because we know they're not going to be on the Sauber next year. That was kind of rumoured, wasn't it? But it was never confirmed. Who will finish P8? That's the poll. The poll is P8. The poll's not P7. The poll's P8. Who will finish P8 in the constructors? Again, 10 points should be safe for Williams, but 6 points between P8 P10. That is very surmountable. Very surmountable. Who will finish P8 in the constructors? 21% of you have gone Williams, which is quite interesting. 20% of you have gone Williams. So 1 in 5 of you think Williams will get jumped. It could happen. It could definitely happen. 30% of you think Alfa Romeo. 38% of you think AlphaTauri. See, I don't have any faith in Alfa Romeo, to be honest. Haas have just brought an upgrade that they still don't understand yet fully, and they will understand hopefully more in FP1, 2, and 3 this weekend. Behrman's at the wheel, remember? Up the ollie. But AlphaTauri, momentum merchants. Exactly, Matsunochi. Exactly, momentum. I think it's theirs, mate. I said in the video, Williams P7, AlphaTauri P8, Haas P9, Alfa Romeo P10. We will see. We will see. And again, big money on the line as well. At least $12 million per position. It's probably a bit more than that, given that the revenue's probably gone up. So, yeah. Exciting little battle at the back, because it's a big deal to these teams. And these are you know what, like, yes, we don't have a battle at the front, but you have to take some interest and intrigue in what goes on outside of that, even if it's just for the sake of you finding something to enjoy, right? But there are 10 teams in F1, there are 20 cars. So 21% 21% don't believe in the Vowels plan. Yeah, we'll see. We will see. Right, cool. Okay, that's the constructors. Next, predictions time. Predictions. My predictions, your predictions. I put the poll out yesterday. Gave you plenty of time. I put it on Twitter and YouTube community. So if you voted, thank you very much for voting. And thank you, David, for the £2. Alfa Romeo's rebrand. Sauber plus Audi equals Saudi. That's actually quite clever, you know. Was it Williams used to run the Saudi... Oh, what's that 70s Williams that had the Saudi branding? Was it an airliner, wasn't it? Is it still an airliner in Saudi Arabia? Saudi? I can't remember. I don't think it is anymore. But yeah, thank you. Thank you, David, for the £2. Appreciate it. Right, predictions time. Predictions for this weekend's Mexican Grand Prix. Yeah, with Keke, that's it. We're going to look at mine. We're going to look at yours. Starting with race winner. Who's going to win the 2023 Mexican Grand Prix? Well, drink it in. I've gone Checo. Look, this guy has to have a good weekend at Mexico. He must, okay? And I said this last week, I'm not voting Max for a single more race win this year, okay? I'm not doing it because it's not fun, okay? It's more fun to have a wild prediction. No, right. Before you all laugh at me, and I see the Lomos in chat, right, I see them. Who did I predict last week to win the race? And who came within 1.5 seconds and probably a better strategy from Mercedes of winning that race, even though it would have been taken off him? Lewis Hamilton. So, you called me crazy, and Lewis should have won that race. Yeah, but he came so close, Berkosaurus. That's the point. He did what he could, and the team kind of let him down a bit. Perez at home. This is the race it turns around. Luca, stop laughing at me. This is the race it turns around, okay? This is the one. This is where Checo becomes prime Verstappen, okay? This is how it's going to go, okay? I'm sorry, I don't make the rules, okay? This is how it works, right? So that's my prediction for the race win. Your prediction. This is what delusion looks like. Well, look, listen, right? This is the way. You've got Max Verstappen. 58% of you, shock of the 1,048 of you who voted have gone Max Verstappen. 14% with Joe Guan Yu. Love it. 10% Hamilton. 6% Perez. Look, 6% of you drank the Kool-Aid like me, all right? 6% of you. Significant. Joe Primacy. That's what that is. Guan Yu supremacy. Joe Primacy. Joe keeps finding himself up there in the votes. I don't know what it is. But yeah, 58% Max, 14 Joe, 10 Hamilton, 6 Checo. Okay. Banger drive. Who's going to bang the hardest this weekend? Oh, that was a pretty out-of-pocket thing to say. Right. I've gone Ricciardo. Okay? I've gone Ricciardo. He's had his one race back. All right, it wasn't great. He did have damage. He was great in Mexico last year. On those softs, he was going like the clappers. Daniel Ricciardo in an AlphaTauri. He's going to deliver the points. Bookmark it. Bookmark it. Clip it. Clip it. Save it. All right? It's going to happen. He will not be 22nd after this weekend. He will be in the points. Daniel Avocado. And we'll close that gap. That gap to Alfa Romeo will close once again. The gap to Haas will close once again. And look, I think Yuki will do well as well. But this will be Ricciardo's race. Lock it in. This was one of the few races last year where he finished ahead of Lando, didn't he? Did he? Can't actually remember. I watched the highlights, but I didn't watch it all the way through to actually see the finishing results. I just kind of watched them to remember that, oh, it was a terrible, boring race. Woo. What did he do? Yeah, he finished 7th. Yeah, Norris 9th. P7. Listen. It's locked in. It's locked in. Don't cry about it, people. Ricciardo is going to be the bangingest drive. You voted for Lewis Hamilton. Again, 2 weeks in a row as well. Voting Lewis. Love that. P1, 15% of the vote for Lewis Hamilton. That shows the spread was very even, to be fair. When P1 has 15%. P2, Zhou Guanyu again. Norris and Perez both with 11% of the vote as well. So there is belief in Checo. I'm seeing belief in Checo. Look, David, I don't know why Joe is getting these votes, but I love it. I'm here for it, all right? I'm here for it. Joe Primacy is coming. Absolutely. Right. So, you've gone Hamilton banger. I've gone Ricciardo banger. What about clanger? Who's going to clang the hardest this weekend? I've gone Ocon. You know, his luck's been pretty stinky. Well, it was kind of bad luck, that turn 1. It was more on him. The damage and ending your race was pretty unlucky, considering he had a pretty good start. But yeah, Ocon just finds a way to penalties. He finds a way to shenanigans, doesn't he? So, you know what? I've got Ocon clanger. That's pretty much it. It's just the vibe at the minute. You know, I love you, Esteban, but the vibe didn't pass the vibe check. As for you, for Clanger Drive, well, I say you believed in Checo, but 22% of you have given him Clanger Drive this weekend at his home Grand Prix. How dare you? How dare you do this to Checo? You monsters. What's wrong with you people? 12% Russell, 10% Stroll. Stroll had a good race last week. He did. You know what? Like, and even after I did my live stream and I was watching some bits back and I was like, you know what? Actually, considering how little practice he had last week because of the car issues, he missed FP1, so he had like no practice. To recover to P9 or whatever he was in the end, which was more, wasn't it? Because it was P9 on track before the disqualifications. You know what? Actually, Stroll had an underrated drive. Still worse than Alonso, but, you know, it was like equivalent to Sargent relative to Albon. Like, Sargent had a good drive. He was still behind Albon, but it was much better than what we've seen for a while. And it was kind of similar to for Lance. But yeah, anyway, he gets 10% of the vote. 8% Ricciardo as well. 8% Ricciardo. Behave. Yeah, 22% Clanger, Checo, Perez. Look, he's winning the race, right? It's just going to happen. It's just going to happen, okay? It's called manifestation. That's how it works, right? You just say things and don't do anything, and then they're just meant to come into the world. Brilliant. Right. Back to my predictions. Banger team. Who's bringing the pace this weekend? It's AlphaTauri for me. Their momentum, they are going to pick up points. They are going to get P8 in the Constructors. Lock it, right? With Ricciardo, probably Yuki as well. That's, you know what? That's what makes this battle at the bottom so interesting, right? Because all it takes is the front lot, right? Verstappen, Norris, Leclerc, Hamilton, all these lot to just crash into each other, right? Which can happen. Bit of a pile up, bit of a Hungary-esque pile up. And all of a sudden, you've got Alpha Tauris picking up 10 points. You've got Alfa Romeos picking up 7 points. Like, you know what I mean? That's all it takes, you know? Just, you know what Red Bull do, right? Deploy Agent Verstappen, cause chaos turn one to get Alpha Tauri more points. Deploy Max. No, that's obviously not happening because Max will win because he wants to. Well, he'll try to win. He won't win this weekend because Checo's going to win, but he will go for the win every time. Right? Keep smelling. I do love the smell of petroleum. I can't wait for all of these to be wrong. I'll send him. You've not been here before, mate. I have a 100% vibes rate, right, with these predictions. Ridiculous. That's my banger team. Alpha Tauri. You lot have gone Mercedes banger team. 24% of the vote. 20% McLaren, 18% Red Bull, 9% Williams. I'm not holding out too much hope for Williams this weekend. I don't think the thin air will work in their favour. This is reverse psychology. I don't think it will. I don't think Alex will get a podium. Please. Yeah, belief in Mercedes from you lot, from Hamilton, from Russell. As long as they can keep it clean, as long as they don't drive into each other, they'll probably be all right. But yeah, you're right, Berkosaurus. They'll have a 4-second pit stop, which will ruin their opportunity. Because that team operationally just stinks relative to where they should be. There is no excuse. The best pit stoppers are Red Bull, McLaren, and Ferrari, who are 3 of the 4 fastest cars. The other fastest is Mercedes, and they're like 8th, 7th quickest pit stops. Unacceptable. So yeah, you've gone 24% Mercedes. And finally, Clanger team. Which team is going to drop their respect? I don't know what I'm talking about. It's too cold. I've gone Alfa Romeo. I think it's going to be an awful Romeo weekend for the Alphas. Lukey called it. And you lot have gone Haas. 21% Haas, 14 Aston Martin, 14 Ferrari, 13 Alpine. Look, Haas Clanger, I feel like they're going to, obviously it's not ideal that Behrman's stepping into the car just after they've got upgrades that they really kind of need to understand. But hopefully they've got their heads down and worked out how to stop ruining their tyres with these upgrades. So, yeah, I've gone Alfa Romeo, you've gone Haas. When is Haas not a Clanger team? Trust me, that these upgrades, once they understand them, they brought them to a sprint weekend. That was always a long shot, but it was Austin, their home race, so fair enough. Behrman will be covered in flow viz. That's an awful sentence, David. Oh, Joe will give you. Listen, Bailey. I hope Joe gives me shame. I do. You know I like Joe. I've got a lot of time for Joe domination. Joe Michelle. I'm not quite sure what that is, but there you go. So those are mine. Well, these are mine. Perez, Ricciardo, Ocon, AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo. They're my predictions. Winner, banger, clanger. And yours, Verstappen, Hamilton, Perez, Mercedes, Haas. Winner, banger, clanger. Cool. Lovely. Done. Right. Yes, Behrman is in the car this weekend. If we go to all teams, we're not going to talk about Alfa Romeo. I've got too much to say. Ollie Behrman will be in the Haas for FP1. Is anyone else doing FP1? Chat? Any other juniors doing FP1 this weekend. I know that Doohan is due to be doing. Is Hajar doing this weekend? Oh, that's cool. Porsche for Afro. Okay. Oh, there's quite a few this weekend. Okay. So Hajar's. Oh yeah, Hajar's in Sonoda's car. Isaac Hajar. Porsche's in the Alfa Romeo. Vesti in the Mercedes. Doohan for Alpine as well. Blimey. Okay. Cooking. Yeah, all FP1. A lot of different FP1 juniors we'll be seeing. So hopefully they can keep it clean. Yeah, is Drogo doing? Is Drogo in the Aston, Matt? I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything about that, but maybe he will. Will Behrman do better than Magnussen in the Haas? Well, I think Behrman's a junior. He's going to give it a good go. First taste of F1 machinery. He's done a bit of. He's done some laps in Fiorano at Ferrari's test track. So he's got a little bit of F1 experience under his helmet, but not in these cars. So is it 5 teams, Carol? 5 teams running rookies. There you go. There you go. So that'll be exciting to see. What else is there to... other stories to cover? Let's talk about... so there's been a lot of chat around Perez and Verstappen and this weekend and obviously everything that's gone on, not only with Perez getting, convincingly beaten by Max week in, week out, but also obviously the remarks from Helmut Marko and, there seems to be a lot of ill feeling amongst Checo fans towards kind of Red Bull and Max, it seems. Sorry, everyone, about the audio. I mean, everyone's ears have recovered. Yeah, Max needs extra... Well, they've given Max extra bodyguards, I think. That's kind of what I've read. I can't confirm nor deny. That's just what I've heard. But yeah, it does seem the situation's got a bit crazy. Got a bit crazy. It's look, I think that it all comes back to the booing at Austin. I mean, booing as a thing, it depends why you're booing. I think the context of your booing is what determines whether it's okay or not, that's the way I see it. But obviously you can't, when you see a bunch of booing, you can't, how do you know what every individual is booing for the same reason? No. So yeah, but you can boo, but during a national anthem, I don't really I don't know. It doesn't really whatever national anthem, whatever country it is. I don't know. It's just it's sport, isn't it? But yeah, I don't know. It's a pretty messy situation. It will be really interesting to see how that all plays out this weekend. Hopefully, nothing too sketchy. But I don't know. I think obviously Max is doing his job ultimately. He's doing what he can, what's best for him. I guess to be honest, would I boo at a football match? If West Ham were playing Spurs and the Spurs players are coming out, yeah, I'll boo at them. Yeah, of course I would. They're Spurs. I don't like Spurs. But F1 I don't follow in that same tribal way. So would I boo an F1 race? No. I can't imagine a context where I would boo. I don't know, unless someone wiped out Alex Albon right in front of me and carried on, then I might give I mean, I don't know. But I don't know. It's for me. It's a bit. Yeah, obviously I get. Yeah, when it's just Max is standing up there on his own and people are booing. I don't know. Yeah, I mean maybe I would have booed Lewis if I was at Interlagos in Austria when he. If I was at Austria when he took Alex out and I had a clear sight of it, I would have. I don't know if I would have booed. I'd have probably shouted. I'd have probably shouted something not too kind, but again, the sport is sport. There is a ultimately it's human beings who are piloting these cars, and obviously drivers are putting themselves at risk. And I understand like there's more at risk, an F1 driver versus another typical sports person. But also I think I like to try and have the best look at things from the least cynical point of view and be like, oh, you're booing because. But I guess, when it's just, if Max had a come in together with Checo, for example, and then was on the podium and he was getting some booing, I'd be like, oh, yeah, fair enough. Like, I'm not surprised. Like, they came together and Checo came off worse and Max won the race or whatever. If they just boo Max out of principle, then I'm just a bit like, then they're in, that's what I mean. That's where the context behind the booing changes, Whereas, like, if I'm at West Ham and Spurs come out, I would just boo them out of principle because it's Spurs. That's just how it works. But there you go. Yeah, it doesn't seem to faze Max. He doesn't seem too fussed. So, booing the UK anthem is fair. Yeah, especially when they say the King part. No, I'll never sing the King part. I'm afraid that's just not going to happen. But yeah, I'm sure it'll all be fine. Anything else? Any other particular topics to cover on? I mean, again, that's not a particularly it's not a topic that is particularly fun to talk about. But there you go. Aston not being a top team anymore. Yeah, they're not that great right now. They're kind of fell off, didn't they? They kind of fell off. Checo's helmet is nice. Yeah, I like it. It's a decent little helmet. $1 million fines. I like Checo's. Not Checo's. Sorry, I like K-Mag's statement. He was like, Charles can just give him one of his Richard Mille watches, and I'll just disappear, never to be seen again. It's quite funny. I love that. Right. Also, let me go grab Minton, who's actually just sat over there. I'm going to roll you an ad while I grab Minton, because capitalism. Right. Come here, boy. Come here, boy. Hello. Oh. Here he is. Here is the wiener dog. He's been sleeping all day, of course. Haven't you? Haven't you, Minton? Look at him. He's so still. Silky, smooth, warm. He's very warm right now. I did just wake him up, Matsunochi, because he's been sleeping like all day. It's like 38 minutes past 12. And he's just a kip. And he would sleep like all day. He would actually sleep all day. I reckon if I allowed it, he would probably sleep 22 hours and have 2 hours of like zoomies running around doing stuff. Just like me. Oh, Joseph, you got to sort that sleeping pattern out, mate. Right, go on, buddy. Back to bed. Right, I think we've kind of covered everything off. Don't forget to watch my video from yesterday if you haven't already. I would really appreciate it. It's a good one. It's doing quite well as well, so I'm happy with that. And enjoy the race this weekend. Hopefully, it's a bit of a banger. Sunday race watch along on the last lap. Link in the description below if you want to check that out. And on Monday, we'll be back for the post-race Chinwag debrief to go over the greatest Mexican Grand Prix of all time, where Sergio Perez will win and dethrone Max as number one at Red Bull. We'll see about that. Right. Cheers, everyone. Be good. Stay safe. Be well. Be happy. Thank you all for joining. Bailey, Matsunochi, Christopher, Mitzi, Ian, Dimmy, Luca, Nathan, Moon One, Yard Animal, David, Charmander, everyone. Thank you all. Thank you all to all who super chatted as well. I think I covered everyone. Yeah, I think I did. Right. Bye. Bye, people. Be good. Be well. Watch all my videos. Bye.